Hi, it's Bill back again from my sanctuary in lovely Jupiter, Florida, where it's only 92 degrees. We're under a little bit of a cold snap, which is quite the morale builder. For any of you noticing, the beautiful example of an early Bronco behind me belongs to a buddy of mine. I'll tell him you liked it. Only 40,000 miles. So pretty. As far as the title of the video is concerned, how can a good God allow bad stuff to happen? This is the number one objection that I've heard from people as a reason for a lack of belief in God. Now, there is a Baptist pastor and Christian apologist. His name is Voddie Baucham. He comes at this question from a very interesting angle, and I want to share that with you. He was doing, I believe it was a Q&A, and a college student had asked him, God's so good, why does bad stuff happen? And Voddie informed him that he was asking the question the wrong way. He said, in order to ask that question so we can have a dialogue on it, he said, the way to ask that question is, if God is so just and God is so good, how did he allow me to wake up this morning and not kill me in my sleep last night over what I did yesterday? I found that as a very interesting angle to come at that question. I'm sure the college student wanted to withdraw his question after hearing that. But the way I usually answer the question is this: can you be forced to love? And the answer is no. And the reason the answer is no is because love is an act of the will. You have to have free will in order to love. Now, free will is a double-edged sword. You can choose to accept the good, or you can choose to reject the good. God's foundational ethic, if you will, is love. For him, for people that make the complaint, how does God allow bad stuff to happen? For him to intervene, which I believe at times God does intervene, but for him to intervene every single time something bad was going to happen, he would be violating the very component that gives you the ability to love him back, which is kind of counterproductive. And when it comes to skepticism, and I know some people's skepticism is cynical based on their experiences, and I know some people have had some bad experiences, but either cynical or skeptical that God can't do anything right. It's not possible for God to do anything right. If God allows evil, he's bad for allowing evil. If God puts his foot down and says enough, God's no good, he's a horrible, mean tyrant torturing his people. From the skeptic, God cannot win. I want to share a brief couple of song lyrics with you, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing. I know my God-given talents, and that is not one of them. But when in this song was making the rounds on Christian radio 5 or 6 years ago, and the singer started the song out with that very question. He says, God, all the bad stuff going on in the world, all the hate and discontent and wars and so on and so forth. And the singer yells out to God, he says, God, why don't you do something? And in the song, God answers him. God said, I did do something. I made you. Now, every time I've said that to somebody, not every time, probably 80% of the times I've said that to people, their response is, what can I possibly do? This whole world, all the bad things going on, what can I possibly do? And my response to them is always 100% more than you're doing right now. It really is some food for thought, because if you think that there's roughly 7.5 billion people in the world, can you imagine if they all kind of committed themselves to every now and then doing random acts of kindness? I don't think the question, why does God allow bad stuff to happen, would be as near as big of a question if everybody did their job. We'll see you next week.